You want answers!
I want the truth!
You can't handle the truth!
I carry a madness everywhere I go. Over the border and back to the snow.
You're talking about mockery. Just take a look at this company, Orion Telescope Center, located in Cupertino, California. Take a look at their company logo, and what do you see? Basically, the dome with the flat earth. These people know the earth is flat. They are just profiting. Those gullible people that just believe all the lies of science. When the foundation is a lie, everything else after is a lie as well. Here's a closer look at the storefront. Right in front of your face. And here's the dome above the flat earth. What a complete joke. You see the URL, telescope.com, 40 years in business. And again, take a look at the flat earth model next to Orion, the company name. Again, all mockery in front of every single one of these telescopes. Let's take a look at space.com. And they ask the question, why do planets look like stars in the night sky? Here you see supposedly Jupiter and Venus and the moon. States here, the planets are much closer inside our solar system. Although the planets are much smaller than the stars, planets appear to be the same size as the stars because they are so close to us. Planets don't produce their own light. They reflect the light of the sun in the same way that moon reflects sunlight. This is completely false, and I'll explain that. Now let's take a look at this image of the night sky with Mercury, Venus, Saturn, Mars, and Jupiter. Like science states, they supposedly shine because of sunlight off these planets. Now let's take a closer look here at Saturn and Venus. Even a little bit more of a close-up. Now supposedly these are planets shining because of the reflection of the sun. Okay, now let's take a look at this image. You see more stars. And again, all the other supposed planets, they all shine like stars because that's all they are. Now, supposedly Saturn, through a telescope, you don't see it shining. You don't see any stars in the back. More of the same. Now let's look at this. This is one channel showing Saturn through a C11 telescope. Of course, C11 is 311 for 33. Now let's take a look at this channel, different channel, and you get a different color Saturn. And it is not shining like you've seen in these images here. And why is that? And again, where are the stars in the background? Completely demonstrates how these pre-programmed digital telescopes are feeding you lies. It reminds me of fisheye lens cameras that give false perspective. This is how they do it. This is why these were manufactured. So in high distances, people get the illusion that we live in the bulb. And just take a look at this supposed image of Lake Tahoe from space. Give me a break. How small is the Earth if Lake Tahoe is this big? That's what I'm talking about as far as deception when it comes to telescopes, to fisheye lens cameras. They are created to give a false perspective, to create a false reality. And this is what it's all about. I'm going to play my previous video. Before I do, I want to mention one thing as I stated before. Teachers from elementary school, high school, college, university, they've never seen the ball Earth from space. They're just teaching what they're told to teach. They cannot deviate. If they deviate and not teach what the textbooks state, they are out of a job. And this is how the whole system works. The entire system of deception. Before looking at the footage on top of the World Trade Center tower, I want to go over what science says is the supposed curvature of the Earth, with the Earth's circumference supposedly being 25,000 miles around. And that leads you to this chart with the first mile. Within the first mile, there's supposedly 8 inches of curvature. Then it goes by square, with the second mile being 32 inches, and so forth, with 72 in the third. And basically, over each mile, the curvature gets very dramatic very fast. You know, within 10 miles, that's 800 inches, which calculates to be a little bit over 66 feet. And at 60 miles, that brings you to 2,400 feet. And that's over a quarter mile of curvature. Now let's take a look at the footage. Now with this footage from New York, with the One Trade Center tower, they show engineers working on the spire. Now let's take a look at the footage. You can clearly see how there's no curvature to the earth. Right there. This point, all the way across, is a straight line. Again, going back to that chart, there should be a dramatic curve to the earth. And sometimes we watch videos, not sometimes, a lot of times, and you'll see curvature. But those are with fish eye lens cameras. And that's how you get it. I'm going to show a little bit of that towards the end of this video. You can see where they use standard cameras and the fish eye lens, which distorts the perspective and makes people believe, you know, to go along with what science says, that we lived on a spinning ball floating in space. Again, you know, when they do these documentaries, unknowingly they're exposing themselves in other ways that are paying attention to detail. A little bit more look here. Again, right there. Perfectly flat. See these buildings? I'm going to show it in a little bit using when they use a GoPro camera with the fish eye lens. And you're going to see a distortion. All these buildings are pointing straight up like they should. It's all going to make sense in a little bit. Now taking a look at this footage with the engineer using a completely different camera, this one a fish eye lens camera, and you can see a dramatic curve to the earth. Not the same camera as used earlier. You see that distortion? You see that drastic curve to the earth? These buildings leaning to one side? It's all distorted because of the lens of the camera, giving the false perspective. Now with this footage, you're going to completely see how the fish eye lens camera completely distorts the horizon to make it look like it's a ball. There you go. Going from flat to curved. And this is the entire purpose behind these fish eye lens cameras. For the simple fact they need to cover themselves for situations like this. Completely curved. Buildings curved. Everything's curved. Complete distortion. Now take a look at this footage from on top of the South Tower a year before the towers came down. It's a nice pan from the top of the tower showing how the horizon is completely flat. Clear as day. Flat earth. How people can't see this is beyond me. I want to jump in right here about telescopes. Very important point I want to make.
Yeah.
There's a difference between analog telescopes and digital. There's information put in those digital telescopes so you see what they want you to see. Everything is within the firmament. People say, "Oh, I seen a planet through my telescope." What you're seeing is pre-programmed when you're to position that point to see what they're going to show you what you want. They want you to see.
look through an analog telescope, you're not going to see what, it's going to be a blur. You just lights in the sky. Listen, what is Jupiter? What is Saturn? These are supposedly gas planets. They're not even physical. They even admit that they're not physical. There's no surface. It doesn't matter. They're just lights in the sky. Period.
Yeah, good point. Good point bringing up telescopes.
This is what I'm talking about. Pre-programmed into these digital telescopes. That's what you're seeing. And it looks fake because it is fake. Just a digital image. Especially right here. Just take a look. What is that garbage? People believe this is real. But interesting enough, take a look at the comments. Found this pretty interesting. This person, Jason Humphrey, says here, I can't even think of words that describe how amazing this is. To see it like that almost makes it seem fake. Brilliant. Fake, yeah. This person here, the channel owner, says, Saturn is beautiful and it looks indeed fake. Yeah, that's fake, alright. And right here, this person throws in as well. Neil deGrasse Tyson said he couldn't believe how fake it looks with your own eyes, but how it looks real because it's right there in front of you.
I don't know anybody, no matter how many pictures of Saturn they've seen, who, upon looking through a telescope with their own eyes at Saturn in space, doesn't have their jaw drop open.
People don't understand. All they've been fed is fake their entire lives. And when all you've been fed is fake, you're not going to have good discernment between fake and real, because you don't know what real is. So all we get is fake. Even the ball Earth we supposedly live on. Just taking a look at this image here from NASA's official website with Robert Simon. This is the man responsible for the supposed blue marble that we live on. Read the article. He states he basically creates this image of the blue marble through data received through satellites. As I mentioned before, satellites do not exist. There are no satellites in space. And if they were, how far away are they to capture this image of Earth? Give me a break. How people can't see what's taking place with all the trillions of dollars spent on NASA over the years. And they give us a composite of the planet we supposedly live on. And the masses just lap it up. As I stated many times, all the teachers throughout elementary school, middle school, high school, college, university, they never seen the ball Earth from space. They're just taking NASA's word for it. And this is what happens when people assume. They trust their government, they trust their government agency and NASA, and even when things like this don't add up, they'll find a way to rationalize it. No one likes to be told they've been lied to their entire lives. It's sad. We live in such a dumbed-down society.
Space, the final frontier.
Space may be the final frontier, but it's made in a Hollywood basement.
Fascinating, fascinating, fascinating.
Astronauts to the moon.
The Force can have a strong influence on the weak-minded.
Here.
Earth, throughout its life, even when it formed, it was spinning, and it got a little wider at the equator than it does at the poles. So it's not actually a sphere, it's oblate, and officially it's an oblate spheroid. That's what we call it. But not only that, it's slightly wider below the equator than above the equator.
A little chubbier.
A little chubbier.
Yeah.
Chubby's a good way. It's like pear-shaped.
How do you like it? They tell you all the time what to do, what to think, what to feel. Do you want to be like a sheep? Like all those other people, man? Do you understand? That piece of shit up there, I never like him. I never trusted him. This is paradise, I'm telling you.
communicate with science.
And God said, let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters. And God made the firmament, and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament, and it was so.